everybody, welcome back to Taji's World of Books and welcome to another book recommendation video. Hey you guys, so thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to call this video what to do or what to read when you're on bed rest because I had another major medical procedure this past Wednesday, and so I have been in bed rest since Wednesday, and today is the first day that I'm out of bed and actually walking around, and I put makeup on for you guys. And yeah, today's the first day I'm feeling okay. So really quickly and without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, you guys, so what I'm gonna do is, because obviously since I've been on bed rest since Wednesday, these are all the books that I read during that time, and clearly Wednesday, which I didn't tolerate the pain medication that I was on really well, and like my husband said, I passed out 3 times, which is not great. I didn't take notes on any of these books, so I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of these books, and these are everything that I've read during that time, so they're going to be binge-worthy and just really easy to read, and stuff that you don't have to think too much about. Like, you just read it, and it's like, it is what it is, and it's a quick story, and it's good enough. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first book that I read was Perfect Stranger by J.T. Gessinger, and this is one of the books that I have not read by her, and I absolutely loved this book. It is so damn good. And it is about an author named Olivia, and Olivia has gone through a major crisis in her life, and as a result of the crisis that she has gone through, she has fled to Paris, and she is escaping everything and trying to like recenter herself. And like that crisis is like, you know, clearly somebody died, clearly there's a divorce, there's a lot going on, and this story is so damn compelling and so fascinating. And there are so many plot twists. You just don't know which way is up or down. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. You're just like, and by the time you finish this, you're just like, what the hell just happened? Like, it's the best way to pass time. Like, when you are like just wanting something easy to read, but at the same time want to be blown away because you want to be captivated by the story. Because it's really easy. And I just learned while you're in bed rest, like when you're like not paying attention, your mind can wander. And if it's not a good story, you won't get captivated and you won't get pulled in, and you don't want that. So if you just want to gobble up something, this just meets the standard and then some. So I'm not going to give it my normal rating of like angst and spice and all of that. I'm just going to say overall, like, it is a hands down a 5-star. It's very angsty. I can't remember if it was very spicy or not, but it was good enough, and it wasn't like crazy over the top, but it was definitely delivered in a lot of ways. So if you guys want to check out any of J.T. Gessinger's work, I would absolutely recommend Perfect Strangers. The next book that I read is by Jen, or Jodi Ellen Malpass, and this is Leave Me Breathless. She is another hit or miss author for me. Like I said, like some of her books are absolute hits for me, and some of them are misses. This was like somewhere in between. This is about Hannah, and Hannah like is escaping from a past trauma. She moves to a little town. She opens up an art gallery or an art shop, and the heroine in this is Ryan. I'm sorry, the hero in this is Ryan, and Ryan has just left MI6 or MS6 or whatever. He was a security specialist, and he has a previous past relationship, and he just doesn't trust anybody, and so these two collide in this small town. And like I said, it was okay. It wasn't like crazy. The steam wasn't great. The storyline for me was a little bit weak. But again, if you're wanting to pass time and you just want to read something that's a little bit different and you don't need like crazy over the top, I gave this a 3.75 star. It is what it is. The next that I'm going to talk about is A Second Chance Romance, and the first book in the series. Yeah, the first is After All, and the second is Until Then. And like I said, this is After All. It's about a Cape Cod, or like in Massachusetts, town where all of these friends grow up together. There's like 6 different friends, and as a result of a tragedy, something happens, and one of the close friends passes away and dies, but you're not really sure if he died. You're not really sure what happens. This also has a trope in it that I don't care for, but at the same time, it was interesting. It wasn't like, again, an over the top, like really captivating. But, you know, this has a huge time jump. It has like 15-year time jump, which is to me a lot of wasted time, you know. So for the tropes that it had in it, secrecy, lies, deception, running away, hiding stuff, not wanting to face, you know, circumstances, it was a hit or miss for me. I gave it a 4-star. It was interesting. It kept me captivated. Like I said, I was on bed rest, and so it was good enough. But this is about Brooklyn, and she was, you know, in love with Austin, and she met Austin when she first moved to town, and her and Austin had a very tumultuous relationship, and it seemed like it took off like right away and burned hot and hard, and then what happens as a result. So it's the story being unfolded, but it's being told backwards. So you hear what happened early on, then there's this time jump, and then it gets told backwards until you reach the end and the conclusion of what really happened. And I think that the way it ended up, again, because of the trope that I don't particularly like that happened in here, you know, people got sort of shafted and got the short end of the stick, but it was never really fully addressed, if that makes sense. And again, this follows a secondary character that was in the first book until then. And in this particular book, we follow Renee and Graham, and they are friends of the characters that we have met over here in this particular book. And again, I didn't see, these are like, you know, second chance romance. They're hookup partners, they're friends. They were their first everything, but they never really fully settled down and developed a long-term relationship, and you don't really understand why. And so their relationship was really weak to me, and the excuses and the reasons why they didn't get together felt really weak to me. There is another third book that's going to be put out in this particular world in 2023, I believe. I will not be continuing because, again, the tropes and the reasons and the justifications of why stuff happens, for me, just weren't enough, and it didn't cut it. Like I said, it was enough to keep, it was an interesting read, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, to leave me breathless, or to leave me like, I need more in this particular world. Like, I read it and I was like, okay, I get it, but I just, and here I was like, Renee, like, you screwed Graham over, and Graham like totally just let you do it, and he just stuck around for what reason, I have no idea. There was no payoff for him, but it is what it is, so I gave this a 3-star. This one, The Trouble with Hating You, I expected to hate this book, and I didn't. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. This is about Leah, Takar, and Josh Shea, and it really does describe traditional, and please, if I'm explaining this incorrectly, or if I say anything offensive, it's not intentional, and please correct me if you are aware, and if I say this without cultural sensitivity that is necessary. So this is Leah and Jay, and it talks about traditional Indian or Southeast Asian culture and what that is like living within a Indian community or Southeast Asian community, where members of community all sort of follow a particular way of life with particular foods, particular dating rules, particular sort of matchmaking situations, and how families work through that and what that's like. And Leah has a history and a past trauma that makes her resent and push back against all traditional Indian values. And she does not want to get married. She does not want to be match made. She doesn't want families and parents meddling in her relationship affairs, and her parents do that. Her mother is very subservient, and her father is very domineering, and she resents and hates that about him. And right from the very beginning, they try to match her up with Jay, and she is very rude and disrespectful to both her father and to Jay, and Jay doesn't understand. So this is an enemies to lovers trope. Now, she does take this very, very far. Leah's nasty. She's just nasty and resentful. I know why she's nasty. We get it because we understand what happened to her, but Jay is not that guy. And she treats Jay in a very disrespectful way, and she's very rude to him, and she puts him in his place in ways that are not necessary because Jay is not that guy. She's fighting against her past. And Jay actually shows to be a very stand-up guy. So more than 3/4 of this book is her being a bitch and her being disrespectful and being very rude. And then the last quarter of the book is about Jay giving up everything to be with her and sacrificing everything, and her sacrificing very little because of her fighting against her internal fear and herself when she recognizes that Jay is the person that it would make a perfect partner for her. And so I loved it, but I love to hate it, if that makes sense. Like, I was hate loving it. I was hate reading it because she pissed me off in so many ways, but at the same time I understood her and I got her, but I wanted her to kind of make amends earlier on than she did, and I wanted her to treat Jay better than she did. But all the just desserts that were necessary that needed to happen in this book absolutely took place, and it's because Jay made it happen, and I don't know that the adequate gratitude she displayed that, if that makes any sense. So it was really good. I gave it a 4. I enjoyed it because I was definitely in it. And if I was in it, like, I was like, bitch, like, seriously, what? Like, you did that? Like, I was there for it. And so, like I said, when you're like needing to read something due to downtime and you want something to like captivate your mind, The Trouble with Hating You by Sanji Patel. There is another book in this series that follows other characters that are that we see come up in this particular world. I won't be continuing because this is not my preference. Enemies to lovers trope is not my favorite trope. And so that's what this is going to be. And the next book is following a character who's been pining after her first love for like 20 years. And I'm like, I don't have time for 20-year wasted stuff. Like, either we're getting together or we're not, and like we're moving on and pick somebody new for me. And it seems like it's that like a long sort of waiting period. And so for me, I think I would just get frustrated, so I'm not going to continue on. But for those of you that love that, I think that you absolutely will love it. So that's that. And then it's down to the nitty-gritty of the stuff that I absolutely loved. So I read Toxic by Maggie Cole, and Maggie Cole delivers in so many ways. I could just say that this is a 5-star, and it was fabulous and wonderful. This is her spin-off series. This is the New York Mafia Wars. You have to read the Irish Mafia Wars and all the books leading up to this to know what the heck is going on in here. I highly recommend it. And read them all like together, like binge on them for sure. Maggie is one of the best writers that I know. There are some writers that I like absolutely are my go-to for certain things, and Maggie is like my go-to for mafia stuff these days. I absolutely love her. She will deliver in so many ways. The characters work for their HEAs. It doesn't happen overnight, and HEAs don't mean babies and like we ride off into the sunset. HEAs might be like we tried to get together after 20 years, and like there were just obstacles and stuff that came in our way, and it's also a revenge plot, and like you did some serious shit to me 20 years ago, and I had to work through it, and I had to get through it, but when the truth comes out, boy, it is going to be delivered in spades, and this is no different. It is so good, I'm telling you. I like breezed through this. Even when I was half doped up, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's really, really good, you guys. So, if you have not read any of Maggie Cole's, pick up the Irish Mafia Wars, read that, and then step off into the New York spin-off. I think there are going to be 3 books in this series. I think she already released the next book in this series, which is following another brother, and I think I might, just because I love her, I think I might just go back and read them all again, and then just follow and just continue on, because it's candy. I love it. So good. Enjoy it. Cheryl and Kenyon. I absolutely love Cheryl and Kenyon. This is Shadow Fallen, and Cheryl and Kenyon is like an OG. Just like these last 2 that I'm talking about, like J.R. Ward, Lover Arisen, and Cheryl and Kenyon, like the Dark Hunter series, like these are just OG. Like you can pick them up, you can be like, I haven't read them in like 20 years, I haven't read them in 5 years, however many years, pick it up, read it, know what's going on, don't need a whole bunch of backstory, they're just like, you know, fun paranormal romances, like with just candy, like you just gobble them up. And this definitely is that. This is the story of Ariel and Voltari, and it seems like it takes place in medieval England, and it's about a Voltari who is a warlord that lives in that time, and Ariel is a kind of like an angel in this world. And you do have to know a little bit about what's been going on in this world in terms of the war that's being waged between angels and demons. And Ariel is just one more pawn in that. And so this is a take of that. And I don't really think that you need to have read all the books in the sense that to know that this is a love story between 2 characters that are being forced together by demons. And once they come together, it's like star-crossed lovers. So once they're forced together, one is fated to die. And that's what they're trying to encourage and trying to promote, is that one has to watch their loved one die in their arms in a very gruesomely and awful way. And it's a very fascinating, fun story. And like I said, you don't have to have a lot of backstory to read it, and you can binge it, and it's fun, and it's fast, and it's quick, and it's a love story. So I gave this an overall 3.75. And then the last book that I want to talk about is Lover Arisen. This is the Black Dagger Brotherhood. I think this is book like 22, 25, something like that. These books that she's putting out, these are like, they're not the spin-offs, but these are about the Band of Bastards, which is Core, his group, that sort of have infiltrated and become part of the Black Dagger Brotherhood. So we did, you know, they're the Black Dagger Brotherhood core members, like Vicious, Butch, Rage, like all those guys. And then right around the time with Fury, you know, and all of like right? And then right around the time that the chosen sort of left, being in this like ethereal heaven place, and they're following Fury and they're out living their lives, then that's when Kor got with the Layla the chosen, and that's when she had the twins, right, by Quinn. So now Kor and his band of bastards, there's like 5 of them or 6 of them. And so the latter books are about Kor's brothers. And so this is no different. This is about Davina, and it's also about Erica and Balthazar. And Balthazar is very close to Kor. And it's about Davina is a demon, and she has taken over Balthazar's body and is using him for dastardly means. And he is trying to break away from her. So we've seen all of the past characters. We see Lassiter. We know we're gearing up for Lassiter's books. We know that the Lesser War is still going on. This is still a paranormal romance. You do need to know a little bit about these characters, but you really don't. Like, you can pick it up here if you want, or you can start from the beginning. It is going to deliver. It's going to give you a paranormal romance. It's going to end in an HEA. You're going to see, like, you know, evil characters fighting against good and trying to harm mankind. You know, J.R. Ward writes in a particular way, and she has Jim Frangione narrate all of her books, and so you always feel like it's coming home when you read this, without a lot of thought or fanfare. You know, it just gives you, like, just if you're in the mood for a paranormal romance, pick up one of the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and you're going to get all the feels and all the, like, goodness. So this is no different, and I gave this a 4-star as well. So you guys, that's what I got today. Thank you so much for joining me and, you know, tuning in and listening to me yammer about things that you can read while you're in bed. And, you know, we all go through stuff. Like, sometimes we have to have dental surgery, and sometimes people have surgery, and sometimes people are down. So many people have been getting sick with that big unnamed virus that has been, you know, holding us down for like the past 2 years. And so if you're in bed for those reasons, or you're quarantined or home, you know, you just want something easy to read, and you don't want to feel like you have to get into a whole world building, complicated history type thing. You just want to read something that you can just go through, and those books are all of that. So that's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like the video because it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video, which is generally 3 times a week. And that's all that I have for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!